not having a birthday journey, right? One of the most basic journeys ever. James Mobb said this thing that really stuck in my head. He said, this is like the equivalent of somebody going into your restaurant going, it's my birthday today, and you going, I'm walking off. What?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What? You know?
Yeah.
Or a welcome journey. I mean, so many brands don't even have a welcome journey. This is the equivalent of you going up to the restaurant door and the host just going,
what can I do for you?
You'd be like,
Yeah.
You going to welcome me?
Yeah.
Welcome to Captive Conversations, brought to you by Captive Wi-Fi. I'm your host, Adam Foreman. This podcast brings you the best stories from suppliers, marketers, and operators from our beloved hospitality sector. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hello, everyone. Episode 67, and I've got her to the podcast studio. We've been talking about it for quite a while. Victoria Searl, thank you very much. Give everyone a little wave that can see you.
Hello.
Thank you for coming. We've known each other for a while. We've had lots of chats.
We have.
And as you mentioned earlier, you're doing content as well, which I'm absolutely loving. And you've got over the cringe factor, the British cringe factor, which it took me a while to get over as well. The guys that we do stuff in the US don't have the cringe factor, so they can just off they go, no problem, and talk to the camera and no issues. It took me a little while, but the content you're doing, as I said earlier, it absolutely makes sense. So I'm excited to see more. So which is good. And again, you don't need anything. You just have a phone is fine. You don't need any kit, because the quality of especially the new iPhone is just about to come out. Amazing.
Well, I'm doing it in part because it was your suggestion, and you said it's all very well writing posts, but you need to say it on camera, and I was like, oh.
I love reading the post, but I think the effectiveness, it really is when people actually hear it from you, because then there's the passion in it as well.
Yeah.
Because you when you say it, I'm like drawn in, and then I'm like, watch it again, and then share. You know what I mean? So I think it's awesome, and there's a great community, and everyone wants to. That if someone's got 15 seconds to listen, and they say now that LinkedIn's the Facebook of work, right? Because it's just, you could scroll through videos, but I think, the action to the video, one of the guys I work with called Scott Turner now has something called Auden Hospitality. He's been doing podcasts before us, and I've known him for years, and he's the one that brought me into the guys in the US, and he was like, you guys got to do this content thing. And he's now got this like awesome video editor. So he's done behind the scenes restaurant setup and stuff. And it is like, I wish I could get there. I wish I had time to do it, but it highlights everything. So they've just opened a restaurant in Marylebone, and they've done a whole series behind the scenes, setting it up from ops to stock control, everything. Unfortunately, not much about marketing. So I need to give him a kick on that.
You need to get him on.
So I need to give him a little nick. But thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And so we're going to kick in with the two questions from the last guest. That's Catherine Allen. And question one was, what is the best hospitality networking event and why?
Well, I think the best event is yet to happen, because I think it's going to be team marketing in real life.
Yeah.
And Glenda, who took over that community earlier this year, she's built an incredible event. It looks absolutely outstanding. And I think that's going to be it. There's 750 odd marketers and suppliers in that group, as you know.
Yeah, more now, like every day.
Even more.
Yeah.
I have a huge affection for it, but
Yeah.
I think there's going to be many of them in the same room, and I think that's going to be the event of the year. So big up Glenda.
I think she's done an amazing job. The whole as soon as she took it, I was like, When's the event? When's the event? Like when's the meetup? And she's like, patience, Adam, patience. It's all coming in time, and we'll come on to that in a bit. Okay. But I think that will be awesome. The lead up and everything else, everything within it is just awesome. So, and we are a sponsor, so we're happy
the branding and everything. It's so eye-catching. It's so. I think she's done an incredible job. I knew she would.
Yeah.
That was why I wanted to entrust the group to her. But I mean, I think the event's going to be absolutely brilliant. So that is going to be the hospitality networking event.
I can't wait. Well, we'll be there with bells on and cameras and everything else. So I can't wait to share. So I knew that would be an easy answer.
Okay.
Question 2: when was the last time you were truly present, and what were you doing?
Well, this is an easy one because this week I read a book called The Power of Letting Go by John Perkis. And I've been trying really, really hard because I've often got what I can only describe as a head full of bees. You know, my head, it's just impossible to turn my head off or turn my brain off. So I've been really, really trying to just notice, you know, thoughts and anxieties coming in and passing like clouds and all of that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And it is really, really hard. But on Monday, I had yoga. I have yoga twice a week.
That's really important.
And I said to my yoga teacher, I really, really need to work on this kind of presence thing and just not emptying your mind, because the second you try and empty your mind, it just floods with.
Yeah.
But just noticing stuff coming in and noticing it floating back out and thinking it's all fairly inconsequential. So Monday afternoon, I was lying on the mat and I thought, yeah, I am genuinely present. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better at it. But yeah, I think I had a bit of a moment on Monday.
That's awesome. It's hard. That
It
is
is.
awesome. My wife tries to do it every morning to set your day up.
Yeah.
And we've just tidied up our office / sort of like gym area, and it's now really clean. So
Yeah.
you know when you walk into a room and it's like, now it's like perfect.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
walk in, that calm has got, and that calm's there, and then
Yeah.
she'll do that. So I think you can tell the difference that day, complete different.
Yeah.
It sets your whole day up.
Yeah.
With that. So the noise. Silence and the noise.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
hard.
definitely.
It's hard. So I like that. That's good. That's really good. Okay.
Good questions.
Thank you. I'll let Catherine know. Standard questions. Best hospitality experience.
Do you know what? I'm going to tell you about an experience, but it really troubles me that this is the best experience I can think of. And it was 26 years ago.
Okay.
So as I mentioned earlier on, I've got a daughter who is 27. And when she was a baby, she was a crier. You know, she was one of those. Like, she was a crier. And she's got ADHD, quite sort of profound ADHD. So it's no wonder at all that she was kind of up all night. Anyway, she was a real crier. Nobody was sleeping. I was in a restaurant, which you might remember, it was in Covent Garden. It was called the Rock Garden Cafe, and it was where the Apple Store is now.
Yeah, I used to work with them.
Upstairs,
Yeah,
did you?
they had
Right.
the gardening club and the rock garden.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Upstairs, we were up there, and I'd gone for a bit of lunch, and I was in the restaurant. I'd sat down. No sooner had my main arrived, but Georgia was off screaming again. So I immediately started like bundling stuff up and everything. The waitress came over and said, whoa, where are you going? I said, oh, I'm so sorry, because everybody was looking at me. I was, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm going. She was like, you've got to eat, give it me. And she took Georgia.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you sure? And she went, fuck them. You know, that's what she said. And I was like, she went, you've got to eat, look after yourself. And she walked around and let me eat and walked around this restaurant, holding on to Georgia, bouncing her up and down. And it was just the most incredible moment, because anybody who's had a crying, but anybody's had a baby full stop will know that you're emotionally all over the place. You know, you're tired, you're frazzled, you're constantly anxious, you're terrified you're not doing it right. And and also you feel incredibly lonely, because, you know, if you spend a lot of time at work, suddenly you're not at work and you're thinking, who am I anymore? Like, is this what my life's become? And I just felt so seen in that moment. And the hospitality was excellent, because I'm sure nobody else felt the hospitality was excellent except to listen to Georgia screaming. But in that moment...
No, but not afterwards.
But exactly, the baby was quiet. And just the fact that she took her and she said to me, you have to eat. She saw me. She saw how I was fixed in that moment.
Yeah.
She saw probably how absolutely on the edge I was. And she was like, no, I'll take care of this. And I mean, amazing. 26 years later, I still can absolutely say that's the best hospitality experience I've ever had. I wish I knew how to find her. I'd love to thank her.
Yeah. So I sometimes leadership's from the top, and there was a guy that we worked I used to do events. So years ago, the guy that ran it was Australian, and I think when I'm assuming that usually if it's a good leadership team, it runs from the top, and if it's Australian style hospitality and his help with that with the people. Even when I went to the club downstairs, it was it was awesome, and the bar and the club and the restaurant upstairs was amazing. It was a great space. It was.
It's funny when you remember those old places.
100%.
Around, and you now when you look around and you know everything's new, but I can almost remember every pub,
on the corner.
every restaurant that sort of sat in the place.
But I find my way around London by food.
Yeah.
So that's how I get my way around. But we had Daniel Keane on a couple of weeks ago, and weirdly enough, in adversity, think sometimes it's the best hospitality. And he was saying
Yeah.
he went to Sky Garden and everyone had to leave, and one of the lifts was broken, so everyone had to go. Massive queue, and there was a person at the top saying, "You're like," and we're talking to all the kids and stuff, and saying, "You're a superstar." Like just like chatting with people.
Yeah,
And
nice.
he said that was my best experience. It didn't seem great because you
Yeah.
know, but everyone felt great when they left.
But you're right, because I think, you know, and I was an operator for a really long time. I think it's really easy to be great at hospitality when everything's great. You know, it's like it's really easy to create an atmosphere in a bar on a Friday night when there's 1,000 people in there. You know, it's really easy to do that. But you create the best hospitality on a Tuesday night when there's 4 people in, or when something's going wrong. You know, like that's when it really tests. Is this hospitality? You know, there's a difference between service and hospitality, and that's the bit that moves it from services taking the order, it's going through the motions. Hospitality is a feeling.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Okay, best hospitality tech. And you can have one or two if you like. I mean, you've got multiple partners you work with, so you know it's a challenging one. But...
I think about this a lot actually, because we're in a sort of like strange place as a business ourselves, as in how we're growing and evolving, and the tech that we engage with is changing as we go. But for me, it's something that, you know, collects a lot of data. So if in an ideal world, I'm collecting proof of presence data, so I know that somebody's in the building, but I also know what they're buying, you know, and things like preferences, whether there's been, you know, an allergen mentioned or whatever it was. So for me, something like order and pay at table.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call out StoreKit because, number one, it's a great piece of kit, but also Angus at StoreKit is just one of the nicest men ever, genuinely all day long believes in it.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you can just see it. It's just in his blood. Like he will die banging the drum, you know, for that. And I've got so much respect for that, you know.
And they have made it very different as well. The product is on brand.
Yeah.
That style, that concept.
Yeah.
They continuously iterate. We had Christoph and Angus in.
Oh, yeah.
I've known them for a very long time because when they were before StoreKit, when they were doing the other things they were doing, like with like the POS reselling and stuff like that. So I've known them for such a long time. Christoph came to my office like 10 years ago to tell me about the solutions they were doing.
No.
So it's really interesting. It was really interesting listening to their story. But yeah, super passionate. And I have in my fridge just over there, their StoreKit's spicy limoncello. So which I haven't opened yet.
I was going to say, why didn't you get that out?
I should whip out. Not right now. So it's a bit too early. If it was an afternoon pod, would be fine. But yeah, no, they are. I agree with you. The platform's amazing. Yeah. We've done some stuff with them as well. I've not had anyone say a bad thing either. So and their product is they're iterating. The stuff they did with Bao was yeah, I mean it's cool. So
great kit.
They're a good team.
About that.
Okay, so we do this all the time. So I know obviously I can see from the info I gave you that
I'm worried what you're going to say now. Yeah. You just got really dubious.
It's like I was like it's basically going back in time from like the early doors. So the first question I always ask is, did you work in hospo early doors? Like I have people who never worked in hospo and then went into tech. And then I've had other people who are like, I was in an ice cream shop when I was a kid and so on. So, I mean, to be fair, I'm going to read the first paragraph from what my AI researcher did because it was pretty awesome. And it's here basically. It was like from pints to data points, which I love. It wasn't for me. Your personal story is a fascinating one, from pulling pints at 18 and working your way up in pubs and restaurants to becoming marketing director at big name brands, and now founding your own consultancy. Could you walk us through that journey? What was the pivotal experiences in hospitality ops and marketing that shaped the vision that you had to DataHawks? And what gave you the courage to strike out? But let's just go back from that early doors. Where did it start? Like, was it like at 18 you were working in a pub, I'm assuming?
Well, 16, honestly.
16, I love that. Yeah,
it was a different time.
Very, very different.
Nobody asked for ID in those days.
No.
I couldn't wait to get behind a bar. Like I was this kid who used to run alongside my dad. My dad's like a tall man, and I'd be like running alongside my dad. And every time we would walk past a pub, I would smell the beer coming from the pub, and I'd be like, "Dad, what's that smell?" They go, "That's beer, love." And I was like, "Oh God, that's it." But I don't even like beer, but I love the smell of it. So yeah, got a job in a pub when I was sort of 16, 17. Started working behind the bar properly when I was 18. I just finished my A-levels, was due to go to uni. And over the summer holidays, there was let's just say that my manager was moved on over the summer holidays, and the area manager came in and went, "Who does all the hours here?" And I sort of said, "Me." And he went, "Right, you're in charge," and gave me a bunch of keys. And he said,
at 18?
Yeah, 18. And he said, "Right, you're in charge, and we're going to bring in a relief manager, holding manager, but just crack on and lock up, and you can sleep upstairs if you want." And I was like, "Yes." So did that for a few weeks. Did you stay there
as well?
Yeah, just stayed upstairs. Just I think I got my mum or dad to bring me a bag or something. And I was like, "Staying above a pub." So I was just in absolute heaven. I'm phoning around all my friends, going, "You'll never believe where I am."
Yeah, come to my new place.
Yeah, exactly. Got a pub, got free drinks basically. And so I did that, and I did that sort of all summer. And then eventually the area manager sort of said, "How do you feel about holding it a bit longer?" And I said, "I'm going to uni." And he said, "What about if we put you on a manager's salary for a period just so you can hold it?" And it was the princely sum of £12,000 a year. Yeah. And I went, "You, my friend, have got a deal." And I phoned my mum and I went, "Great news. You know how I'm going to go to university?" And she went, "Yeah." And I went, "I'm not. I'm gonna defer for a year." Yeah. And she went, "No, you're not." And I went, No, I am. I'm going to totally defer, and I'm going to buy like a car, and I'm not even going to have any debts, and it's going to be amazing. She went, "No, seriously, go to university." And I was quite a willful teenager, as you can imagine. So I just went, "No." And then she went, "Yeah." And I went, "No." And well, I'm 50 now and I never made it. But yeah, so I started running pubs, and this was a golden time. Yeah. Like, this is the early 90s. You've got so much like innovation. It was so exciting. It was all vertical drinking, you know, and it was alco pops and DJs setting up in corners and stuff. It was so exciting. And most importantly, you had a customer base who were committed to going out and getting as absolutely hammered as they could 5 nights a week. Yeah. So what's not to love about that? And I was good at it. You know, I knew what people wanted. I knew how to like create the atmosphere.
It's sounding very similar to Kieran's journey as well, because he did something similar as well. It's very interesting.
I reckon a lot of us do this. Yeah. And I carried on in that vein and just went on every course going. I was the youngest licensee in what was known as Allied Domec then. Just carried on, ran bigger and better bars.
What was the group? Was it a group or was it independent?
So I worked for Allied Domec first, which owned things like Taylor Walker in the south, and Tetley in the north, and Ansell's in the Midlands. And then eventually I moved over to Scottish and Newcastle and worked my way kind of down the southeast, running bars across sort of Kent and into London. And then I joined Revolution Group, and I ran Revolution Soho for a while as a GM. And
what was that like, going from the pubs that you've been to, coming in? Did you do anything in London before that or not?
Kind of on the periphery. Like, I'd ran this like late night bar in Lewisham, but I ran late night venues. Yeah. So even though it was officially a pub, it was very much Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 9 people through the doors. Yeah. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, queue down the street, DJ, alco pops, you know. Yeah. Absolute craziness, straight into a nightclub. Yeah,
so it wasn't a traditional pub.
So there were never traditional pubs. They were always.
So the move to Revolution was pretty simple.
It was, but do you know what Revolution was brilliant at? That was when I really started running it as a business myself, because when you were running a pub for like Scottish Newcastle or Allied Domec, they would come to you about 3 months later and go, "Yeah, you overspent on your wages bill," and you go, "Oh, I'm sorry about that," and they go, "Well, don't do that again." You go, "Right, I won't," you know, and that was it. Where with Revolution, they would come to you and say, "Right, we want you to forecast the next quarter. How much are you going to spend? How are you going to accrue for your expenses?"
Yeah, massive learning.
A huge, and the discipline, like the business discipline that drums into you. I'm sitting there kind of thinking, whoa, I've got to change my labour model here because it's Wednesday and we're not in a good place. So, just, you know, I learned so much about the business. And I guess from there, that really gave me the foundation to go on and set up bars for other people. So I basically worked consultatively, where people would come to me and say, "I've got an idea for a bar. Will you set it up?" And I would do everything from, you know, negotiating the drinks list to putting in the training to the recruitment, you know, working with the suppliers so we can make sure like the beer fridges were
the full 360.
Right. The whole thing.
Tech as well or not?
Well, there wasn't so much tech then. No. There was EPOS and stuff. But there wasn't so much tech as there is now. So not really.
It was the old school dial-up.
It was.
I remember being in a nightclub in Mayfair in the office, and I'm sitting there, and this is the first time I was in the office. I looked to my right, and I was hearing, and it was the night. It was a Thursday night. It was busy. Yeah. You know, and all of a sudden I heard. And then they had 8 modems.
Oh my god!
So they had the original zonal, the swipe from the so as soon as anyone swiped on the till, it went to the server. The server then would dial up the US robotics modem. Wow. And they had 8 phone lines, only 8. And every time we did that, and I was like, what is that? I mean, I'm in tech, so I knew it. I was like, why have you got 8 modems? Because that's our credit cards. I was like,
wow.
And that was back in the day.
But you know what? Back in the day, before that, in my very first bar, that one I took over when I was 18, we didn't have a computer in the office.
Yeah.
We had a sales ledger that you would open like this big tome like this. Yeah. And you'd fill out all the numbers, and then you'd like tear the sheet off and then post it to head office. And maybe 3 to 6 months later, somebody might phone you and ask you a question about your sales that week. But it was, there wasn't a computer. I remember getting my first computer and being given training on how to switch it on and stuff. And I was like, I can handle this. I had an Amstrad 464. I know what I'm doing. Right. But so from there, that was really then when I started to realise that ops and marketing were 2 sides of the same coin. I was doing a lot of marketing. I was doing a lot of thinking about brand and, and I just thought, why has anybody separated this? This is all fundamentally the same experience. Marketing might bring the people in, but ops delivers, and it continues in this really lovely circle. And then I'd happened to go on across a business called Ignite.
Yeah.
Which is run by Paul West and his wife Michelle. And I'd seen, I don't know how I'd found them, maybe I Googled like agencies or something. And I basically hassled Paul for a job and said I could be like your ops consultant. Yeah. And he was like, we don't need one. And I was like, go on. And he was like, and eventually he went, right, we need one. I was like, I'm your girl or something. So I went to work with him. Yeah. And that was when I started to just learn loads about marketing, because this was at a time where everybody wanted a website, the boom. It was, I don't think social was even a thing then. No. It was all just websites and
very thin websites. On your little screen.
Exactly. It was all of that. And obviously even mobile, I don't think I'd even got my first iPhone at this point. So it was
I think we're 20 years. I think iPhone's like 20-year anniversary or something like that. So
God. Yeah, probably is.
Yeah. The old Nokia. Or did you have the previous? Was it more of the flip phone?
I loved the flip phones. Yeah. I must admit I missed the flip phone, but I had the flip phone. But I just learnt loads from this. So I'd gone from doing operations to learning much more about marketing, and I became
back then, because we're talking pre-GDPR, we're talking pre-social,
GDPR.
we're talking sign up emails outside the venue. We're talking flyers. It's a completely different ballgame to what it is now. Yeah. So we're from the revolution and other stuff that you're doing. Were you doing the sort of guerrilla marketing back then?
Not so much like that. We were doing stuff more. So in Soho, for instance, went round with, I think it was like cleaning spray, and me and the team went round with a load of stencils, basically putting stencils all over the floor with cleaning spray and directing everybody back to the bar for shots and stuff like that. Yeah. So I was doing much more of that sort of stuff. And I'm sure maybe other people were doing stuff that was more digital. I mean, Dan Brookman's been doing it for about 150 years, sort of thing. So I'm sure other people were, but I wasn't at this point. I think I was still quite old school in, you spray something on the pavement, somebody sees it and they're going to come in.
And now they use the pressure washer because the floor is much dirtier.
Exactly. I think I went around with like a bottle of bleach or something. It was something something like that.
And it's free. And it's free.
Yeah.
Like those arrows and the pointings, it's
100%.
Free. Yeah.
So we would do all that, or go and sticking stuff on lampposts. And, I mean, I've had the police come into Revolution Soho so many times to go, we have had this conversation, have we? And I've been like, we have. Oh God. It was someone else. Yeah. It wasn't even me this time, but it was more that. It was sort of cheeky and opportunistic rather than any kind of plan being in place of why don't we collect some data? I don't think there was any plan going on.
So then when you were at Ignite, Learning Co must have been massive.
Yeah, it really was, because they were doing some really amazing stuff with websites, and they're still absolute pioneers when it comes to that sort of stuff. And I mean, because I was doing so much ops stuff, I was keeping an eye on all of the other stuff. But that was what led me to be really, really curious. So I started like hassling people to meet me for a coffee. Yeah. And I met Simon from Carluccio, Simon Galkoff, and I had a whole conversation with him about how do you do the retail thing? Like what part of the business is retail versus restaurants, for instance?
Yeah.
Because I was trying to think of how to join it all up. And I went to meet Tom Bing, and how do you manage to have Byron feeling like a little independent, and there's already quite a few of them, and you're owned by a massive business now.
Yeah.
So I was just asking all of these questions around, because in my head, I think I was thinking, I want to be in marketing, but I know I want to somehow do something differently. And I didn't really know what that was. I was almost just asking enough questions and trying to piece things
the puzzle
together. And something in my head must have been going like this and, formulating some sort of plan. I didn't know what the plan was. I was just like, oh, there must be a better way. I don't know. But yeah, so that kind of.
So what was the role in? So were you basically the ops side of the marketing piece in Ignite? So were you coming in to help fuse ops? Because obviously the silo, right? We always talk about silos, like ops. It's now like ops, reservations, marketing, tech. It's all like it's literally 9 silos now.
Yeah.
And we always want ops and marketing to be together. And the really awesome people we speak to, who are like, oh, we've just done this project, and then I've just brought ops in to have a chat, and then others are a bit like, oh, we're doing this project, rolling it out, and then there's no ops, there's no conversation.
Exactly. You've got to engage ops. You have to engage ops. What we were doing at Ignite, and I think it showed a great deal of foresight actually by Paul and the team, was they were coming up with really exciting concepts. So they were building a lot of brands. So digital was probably a relatively small piece of their business at that point. And the kind of concept development was their main,
the brand,
bread and butter sort of thing. And they would have they had this one guy who wanted to set up a Greek concept, and he didn't quite know how to do it, so they came up with this incredible concept. And I was the voice of reason on it. So for instance, I immediately looked at the plans and said, this is on 2 floors, and they all went, yes. I said, that's going to take you double the staff to function that, otherwise half of that's closed all day.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, because I had that operational understanding of what it's going to take to run it.
Yeah.
So
they're the operational pitfalls that the brand and marketing don't see.
Exactly. And as a brand person, you're not there to be constrained within any kind of hours. You're there to do your biggest thinking.
Sparkle.
Exactly.
Sparkle.
Exactly. And that's what they were doing. I mean, Michelle, though, an incredibly creative woman, they're doing all this incredible thinking. And I'm the one kind of on the side going,
no, you can't do that.
You can't do that because, or do you know how much that costs to do that?
Yeah.
Or you're not making any margin out of that. It was all that.
That's massive.
Yeah, it was
because we've seen it before where the brand agency will come in and do this beautiful pitch deck, and it's wonderful, but then the ops have to take it all apart, and there's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You've actually saved the client another 6 weeks of conversation.
Well, and also I think there's this thing, and hospitality is terrible for this. They forget that yes, they're a brand, but they also forget that they're a business. So I am naturally looking at stuff like the margin of something. Oh, this product's really amazing. What's the margin? How easy is that going to be to make? What extra products do you have to order in to be able to deliver that? How much prep does that cost? How much wastage does that set you up for? So I'm naturally just trying to uncover all that. So you stick me next to a creative person who's doing their best thinking.
Yeah.
You hope that you will land in a place where you've got an incredible brand that's also completely operationally viable at the same time.
So we had, it's so interesting. So we had Laura from Fulham Shore on the other day, and it's like resonating what she was saying, because she was saying, if you want to make a change, show me the stats. Show me the stats. Show me, if you want to make a change, show me the figure differences. But she's from retail as well originally.
Right.
So
okay,
and it's weird because the operational piece is a bit like, well, the retail side is crazy, right? It's way advanced to where anywhere near Hospo is.
Yeah.
As you said, the club card has been going for more than 20 years. So what you're saying is absolutely right and resonating completely, which doesn't always happen. It's a really great idea. Let's roll it out. And then it doesn't get deployed because it's fallen flat.
It doesn't. And also, it's really fascinating watching the life cycle of a brand. So whether it's been Strada, whether it's been Byron, whoever it is.
Strada.
Strada was a
great brand.
I've been thinking a lot about Strada this week. That's another reason altogether. But it starts, and I think it was Andy Bastardoni, wasn't it? One of the founders of Strada. It starts with loads of detail and touches. You know, you've got your water with a filter in it, and you get the limoncello at the end, and there's all of these beautiful brand flourishes. Okay. But then what happens is, that carries on and it grows and people love it, and you open in all the major cities. But then you've got a PE involved, and the private equity people are going, like, we want 50 of these in 6 weeks. So how are you going to roll these out? Well, to be able to do that, you have to then open in Leicester, or Sheffield or whatever. And the point of reference sometimes changes, because if you're in, and I can say this because I lived in Leicester for a long time, but if you're in Leicester and you're used to paying, at a local pasta place, and you're paying £7 for a spag bowl, and then suddenly one comes in and it's 13 quid, you're a bit like, what? You know? And so you have to start taking out all of the stuff to reduce the price. And before you know it, you've got something that's not distinct or memorable anymore. No. But you're trying to charge, top dollar for it. And then you reduce the price down so it becomes, something that everybody can get involved with. And then once it's at that point, then as a brand, it's kind of, well, the whole reason that it was successful. That you could talk to somebody from Strada now, or somebody who loved Strada now, and they will still mention the limoncello. They will still mention the water filters and all of that sort of stuff. So if that's your memory, well, you've fallen out of love with Strada now because they've taken away everything that you loved. But also, you're not special enough for anybody to want to pay those prices. And suddenly you're just competing against everybody else. And the only way you can compete is by not investing in your sites and giving away a load of stuff all the time, and see it time and time and time again. Yeah,
getting lost. It's like when you hit the 20, you get to 15 or 20, and then more private equity comes in. What does the brand look like?
Exactly. And as a brand, you have to make a decision. You have to ask yourself, is this what we're ready for? Because if we are just going, we are going out and out, you've got to be prepared that you're building something that has good food and good enough service and will survive, on a high street and deliver a certain amount of covers. But all of the beautiful little brand flourishes. And I think we forget that a lot in hospitality. I think we get so tied up in the whole, what's the cool little thing? Oh, it's amazing. It comes out on the back of a dog. Yeah. That's absolutely wonderful. I'm looking forward to seeing that being rolled out in Loughborough in a year's time. Can't wait, Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think we think with a critically or commercial enough eye from the start.
I think the interesting thing more recently, like the American style franchise platform is going crazy here. It's like Black Sea Coffee, for example, are exploding everywhere, and the franchise model is doing really well. And I think that's a really nice way of expanding rather than going private equity. Because then you've got those own, and we're working with some really cool wine bars that are just expanding. And it's really nice to see, because they're like, I spoke to one yesterday and she's like, oh yeah, and they're in this beautiful location, Durham. It's like beautiful. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, and they were really excited, rather than someone being deployed as a GM for another site that's opening that's like, oh God, there's another. I think that's a really interesting piece that's happening here. I think that helps keep that brand alive.
100%. And also I think one of the things that's successful about American brands is, they are so good at service, they're so good at hospitality, in a way that I don't know whether we have been for a long time. And people are hard. And this study, isn't there, that once a team gets to 49, you need to build a whole new infrastructure or something. So 49 is the maximum amount of people. So if you've got a franchisee that's essentially looking after their own business, that's going to feel as fresh as if it was the first site for a brand.
Number one. Yeah.
Exactly. So why not do that? Why not do the franchise model? Make yourself a nice bit of money. Know that you've got owners whose livelihoods depend on it. They've got skin in the game because they've paid the franchise fee. It's a brilliant idea. Yeah. Just get rid of PA altogether. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah. Okay. So from where? So how long were you at Ignite for?
About 2 years. It was. I think it was about 18 months, 2 years.
And then what happened? Where was it after Ignite?
So after that, so it was the time of the recession, and I'd sort of said to Paul, I want to go alone. I want to go freelancing. And he was like, okay. And I was like, will you be a client? And he said, yes. And I think I actually retained them as being a client for a few months afterwards, which was lovely. And then from there, I got my first sort of marketing job proper, which was doing like a fixed term contract with the restaurant group. Yeah. And now I look back at it, I was so excited because it was my first marketed job. I look at it now and I'm like, well, that was never going to work. Yeah. But it was a thing called Eat, Drink and Fly. Okay. And basically it was like a loyalty thing for their concessions businesses, because they've got a lot of concessions businesses in like airports and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And it was about how do you drive loyalty through those things. And I undertook that project in earnest.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about airports particularly, but I spent a lot of time in them. You know, and realised that, you know, the thing is with an airport is you kind of, there's only so many places to go. And also the drivers, which are things like what do you know about a brand, might be one thing, but the triggers are very different. The triggers might be how big's the queue, you know? And in many ways you can't influence where somebody goes in an airport because they are going to make a call based on how much time do I perceive I've got, how relaxed do I want to fit, you know, it's all of that.
Yeah. If it was me, I'd be going, I have nearly missed flights probably 7 times. Just because I'm relaxed. It's my kid that's I'm just sitting relaxed and chilled. And we were in a restaurant. There was no announcements or anything at that point. And I don't know why. And my eldest was like, we need to be there in like 3 minutes. I'm like, no, we don't.
And it's gate like 900.
And then running to it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a timing. It's so interesting what you choose.
Yeah, it really is. And sometimes it's the thing about, you know, who you're traveling with and is there stuff on the menu for everybody? And, you know, there's all of that. But the queue is going to be a huge thing. Anyway, I was there for another a few months, but I made some really great contacts when I was there. And they were the people that then got me into what was known as Casual Dining Group then. It's had several iterations since. But Casual Dining Group were looking for a marketing director to look after Bella Italia, while Hilary, who was the incoming marketing director, was working her notice period at the restaurant group. And I was like, happy to do that. And again, I learned so much there because it was such a commercially led business. You know, it was that there was so much thought about, you know, how you get people in, so much about cover driving. Was there for 6-9 months, something like that. Had a whole leaving party, and then about 2 weeks later, I got asked to come back and work permanently.
Oh wow!
So came back and everybody was like, "What?"
Was Joe there at the same time as you?
Joe
from Cam.
Oh
Lynch?
yeah, no. So she came in afterwards, but we worked with Elliot's, and Joe was at Elliot's.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So that's we kind of knew each other because of that. But she hadn't. I don't think she joined the business at that point, or she had. It was kind of as I was going in. And it was split. So we had the Italian side of the business, which was Strada and Bella Italia. And then there was the French side of the business, which was Café Rouge, God rest its soul. And I love Café Rouge.
I drive past, the one in St Albans I've driven past so often, it still says Café Rouge on the outside. It must have been closed for years.
It pained. That is a sad day for hospitality when Café Rouge went.
Steak baguette, just like...
I know. It was good times. But I took over Café Rouge, and I also took over the concessions and stuff as well. So I had Belgo, all brands that just don't exist. Not my fault, just to be clear. But yeah, I worked on that side of the business.
So what was that like going from that to that? Because that's a lot. That's a lot to dig into.
Yeah, it was because I had loads of brands. You know, like the concessions brands. There's something like 10 or 11 of them. Yeah, and we were in like Centre Park, so. You're trying to operate a brand, but in the context of another brand who've got, and there was just a lot of like, you know, or in the airport, you know,
limitations of what you're able to do.
So many limitations, and you're trying to kind of develop concepts. There was a guy called Tom who used to do a lot of the concept development, and he would be developing concepts where the food was really great, but also it was cooked in 15 minutes. In, you know, they didn't have fryers or something, and also you got those children's cutlery that you're going to try and cook your steak with. So. You're trying to create stuff in a really impossible set of circumstances. And Café Rouge was, so, you know, it was possibly on a downward trajectory by that point, I think it would be fair to say. And I went and met Karen Jones, who had founded it, and just sort of said, look, tell me why you founded it. I want to understand why. And she was so generous. She gave me a good couple of hours. She gave me 2 glasses of Sauvignon Blanc as well, which was very nice. But she just was really honest about how it started. She was incredibly generous with her time, with her advice. And I came out of it just thinking, I can help turn this business around. Like I can help turn this business around. But that's not necessarily how it always is in that kind of business. And it's, well, we know what ended at Café Rouge.
So
Tia.
yeah, it is. I have so many. It's like TGI's back in the day. You know, like going to TGI's was so much fun. My friends used to work there behind the bar and stuff. I mean, they're going through the regeneration now. But
Cafe Rouge said the one. I think the trickiness of, you know, that bistro dining. Like we know there must be still a market for a certain demographic.
Yeah.
But French is probably one of the last things that they've not gone through the modernisation. You know, when you think of French food, you still think of rich sauces and duck.
Yeah.
And, you know, and lots of potato. You think of those things. You don't think of light, you know, or fresh or small plates or sharing. Like, I'm not going to go off with you and share a duck with you. Do you know what I mean? It's still quite an independent dining
it's like
experience.
a niche. Yeah, it's quite niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's taking it. No one's taking it.
No.
Out onto the on the mass.
Maybe we'll do that. I mean, we've got nothing else on, have we?
Yeah, I mean, it's another project to work on. We'll do some We'll do some brand work. Like, you know, we just need some investment from UAE.
I'll sort the margins.
Fly yourself over to Dubai, and then then they can bring over. There's lots of things happening.
Yeah.
Or you can just open over there, and you know, it'll be fine. But
next week,
the new Cafe Rouge, unless the trademark's still there. I'm imagining in my mind that somewhere there's a trademark. There's someone in somewhere that's got a Cafe Rouge. There must be one.
In fact, there was one in Dubai, because even when I was there, we just opened one in Dubai. Or we were just opening one in Dubai.
Yeah.
So
it's possible.
Whether or not it's still there,
I'll insert it into the thingy.
I've been to Dubai 3 times in the last year, and I've never thought to go and look for it either.
That'd be so awesome. It's so interesting over there. I mean, literally, we're working with a ton of brands. It is just a different kettle of fish. Like everything. To be fair, anything outside the UK is now. Yeah. So you speak to someone. I spoke to a guy called LP who's got a company called Red Cat. They're an awesome EPOS company. They do like Nando's in Australia. They're amazing platform. Mm-hmm. And then I've got some other colleagues as well who all not from the UK. And the consensus is, please can you tell your clients, your colleagues, your friends, not to be too polite. I said, what do you mean? And they go, well, we have this great conversation. We have a meeting. They go, I love it. It's fantastic. Let's do it. This is amazing. I said, we send the proposal over. They want to do it. And then there's just like nothing.
Yeah.
He goes, I mean, you know, LP was like, I'm Aussie. I'm originally from Canada. He goes, I will just say how it is.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be frank. And our clients back home will be like, yeah, let's go now. Or, you know what? Thank you. This isn't for us. He goes, I just want to thank you. This isn't for us. And I don't know why it is here specifically, and you felt it probably as well.
Do you know what? Do you know? I think there's 2 things, because Lawrence at Leet said exactly the same thing, and he's Dutch, and he said when somebody says I'm really interested in that, he thinks, oh great, you're really interested. Okay, let's get the contracts out.
Yes.
He's like, but what you actually mean is I hate this idea. I never want to speak to you again. He's like, why don't you just say that?
Yes.
But also, I remember working for a big brand, and one day my boss, who was the CEO, said, I'm quoting now, he said, right, let's look at some systems. And I was like, okay. And I think we were looking for CRMs at the time.
Yeah.
He said, and I'm quoting him, he said, let's get a beauty parade going. And I'm like, what? So are we not moving system? We went, no, we're not moving system. So we spent all day where we'd brief people, that everybody came in and pitched. Yeah. We spent all day going, oh yeah, that's really interesting. We'll write some notes down. Yeah. We had no intention of moving. It was a waste of everybody's time. Yeah. It really was a waste of everybody's time. And I just sat there just thinking, this is so arrogant of us. That we're just like parade up and down. There was not even any, we want to get some people in the room and say, how can we all develop? Like, how can we be doing better? Let's have a bit of a round table discussion. Yes. One of you might get some business. But this was, we're going to pretend that there's some juicy contracts here and we've got no intention, and we're just going to sit there and watch you parade past us. Yeah. It's just it's stunning behaviour.
Yeah. It's mental. Parade. We find that anyone in the US that we work with, I literally spoke to a client in New York about 6 months ago, and he said to me, and Adam, stop talking, because that doesn't always happen. So Adam, stop talking. I've already been on the website. I've already signed up. Can we just get going? And I was like, I haven't even finished what the rest does. And he goes, I've got it. I've done. I'm like, damn it. And then he goes, I've just got the IT guy on hold. Can we just do it now? And I was like, yeah. And then Lawrence gave us one of their contacts in the Netherlands. The guy was like, yeah, okay, let's go. Because
that's what I want. That's all I want. Either just no, not remotely interested.
Yeah.
This is never going to happen. We can all save our time. Life is short.
Yes.
Let's all just save our time.
Yeah. Love this, but maybe another time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'm upfront. If we're speaking to suppliers and stuff, I'm completely. I don't know what it is.
But radical candor. So Maisie, who was our company, she was our team coach for a long time, and she's now officially joined the business. She talks a lot about radical candor and how it's so much kinder to just be really honest. And considering we're all supposed to be such people because we're hospitality people, we will merrily and cheerfully waste somebody's time, half a day of their time, knowing we've got no intention of acting on the thing. Just don't do that. That's not how people treat people.
I feel like there needs to be like a type form before anyone has a conversation with those indicators, and then it feeds into AI maybe that can gauge the responses.
Or they pay for a pitch or something.
Yes.
They've got to pay you a 5k down payment, which will be absolutely refundable when you sign the line.
I like that.
But if you don't, I think that might sharpen how many meetings people organise.
Maybe. That'd be hilarious. Can you imagine?
And next I'm going to be the Prime Minister.
Yes. Sorry. Okay. So after Cafe Rouge and Belly Time, what were their main key? What was the big things that you did there
at Cafe Rouge?
Yeah.
So I did a lot of discounts.
Yeah.
I think I pioneered the 100% discount or something at one point. It was ludicrous. I mean, I've never done so much discounting. Like my keyboard was hot.
Yeah.
I was like, another 50% out. Oh my God, nobody's responded. It's been 10 minutes. Get another one out the door.
That's good learning.
And it was. Do you know what? It was really good learning that I know now backwards how to calculate the impact of something and how to forecast how many covers are going to be driven from an offer and stuff like that. Did it teach me anything else? Not really. Yeah. No. It taught me how to survive. It taught me how to work with no sleep. It taught me how to not have a nervous breakdown, even though my nervous system was screaming constantly. And it probably taught me a little bit around managing difficult situations and characters, I would say, because I did this a lot.
Yeah. Did you
that
have a
sounds like a great idea. That's fucking great. Yeah. I'll go and action that immediately.
Yeah.
And off I'd go and scream into the void in the toilet or something. But I think during all that kind of process, it was more about kind of the speed of stuff.
Yeah.
And what I really learned was how MDs and how CEOs and how FDs work and what's on their mind and what keeps them awake at night. And unfortunately, private equity has got everybody working on a very short term, window, because they're just thinking, okay, I'm going to be here for 9 months tops before I get moved on.
Yeah.
I've got 9 months to make an impact.
Yeah. What's the route to exit?
Exactly, but do you know what the mad thing is? So I talk a lot about like customer lifetime, which doesn't seem to have remotely sunk into hospitality yet. It's something that retail uses
all the time.
Like, how long is somebody on your database from that first sign up to they are lapsed, they're gone? How long are they live for?
Yeah.
And you know that, well, I think it's something like 6 to 24 months is the average for hospitality. And we analysed 33 brands and found it's actually 15 months. So you have 15 months of somebody on your database from sign up to lapse.
Yeah.
And that really perfectly aligns with how long you're likely to be enrolled, because, they turn it over so quickly.
Yeah.
And if more people use that and thought, okay, I've got this opportunity to increase that customer lifetime or increase the value because their time frame matches the time frame I'm likely to be here before I get sacked or moved on, because, it's a revolving door in hospitality. We could probably do something really exciting here, but instead people go in, thinking, oh, well, lifetime, who cares about lifetime? I'm going to be here 3 years max because it's exit.
Yeah.
And everything's driven by that kind of time frame.
Yeah. That's crazy. I think the private equity is always challenging, unless you Wingstop, obviously, because who don't really do much marketing, but they do social. So
they do fantastic emails.
Yeah,
do them with us.
There we go.
No, they are great. We love working with them.
Yeah, I think the the only lacking thing for me is they're like tech and stuff. They're still in a bit of old schooly tech. I don't know if it's changed last time I went, but the product's awesome. The socials are awesome.
Yeah.
And what you do is awesome. I think they've just got so much to do. They literally are consistent. I think that's one of the things you see.
But they're excited, and I think the great thing about that business as well is, it ran at 1,000,000 miles an hour because they could not open sites fast enough. And
I've never seen them like it.
Of course you're going to make hay while the sun shines, but they've got a really brilliant team in place.
Yeah.
And the plans, you can see the infrastructure is there. Like, you can see that infrastructure is really starting to shoot up as in the people who are going to make the decisions, because they're going to want to then consolidate, well, what have they got, and how do we now take this and now go for it? Because this opening a site an hour sort of thing can only go on for so long.
Yeah.
So then it's like, how do you continue to sweat that and build it and keep the growth going in years 2, 3, and 4? But
okay,
I think they're smart people.
So we're talking. What was after Cafe Rouge?
So off I went to, that's a good question actually, where did I go then? I found my way to TGI Fridays, which was, I mean, they've got a language of their own.
Yeah.
They literally have a language. You like learn different words, and an incredible business. Probably the best brand I can think of in terms of how many touch points, you know. You can't pick up a fork without somebody going, the reason we use that kind of fork is because it was invented by, what, oh God. I mean,
customer journey was always amazing at TGS.
Unbelievable brand.
Yeah.
I mean, stunning. And when you're on the outside, you think, you get those pins, they're not badges, they're pins.
Yeah.
You get those pins on the braces, and you just think, I'm not interested in that. When you work there and you get a pin, oh my God, it must be like getting the Blue Peter badge or something.
Really?
It's incredible.
Yeah, a friend of mine used to be one of the flarers.
Right, okay.
We were there every Thursday without fail, because he was there as well. So our Thursday nights, when I was 20s and stuff, and was always at TGI. And there was one not far. I live in just in Hertfordshire, but there's Northwest London, Mill Hill, which is now my youngest calls it the island, because you can only get there one way. You have to go around and around, and it's not like you can't you couldn't walk. You'd have to drive there, right? And it's difficult to walk, but it was a destination space. And it still says it, but it's obviously nothing there anymore. Even the retail part that's next to it is gone. Yeah. But that was some of my fondest memories. Even eating there as well. Like the as you said, the touch points were just so good. Oh, incredible!
There was something like 48 of them, and you have to learn them. You get a test.
Really?
You join as marketing director, as I did, and you've got to do the test before you get entrusted with any marketing. I love that. What? And you do, and you look. I mean, they've got like a different language that you have to use, like that birthday song. I mean, we used to be in the office up near Luton. The postman would come in, everybody would be up on chairs singing the birthday song, and I was like, "What the hell is happening here?" And the postman's just like, "Yeah, this happens every year." What? I mean, it was. I've never known anything of just a brand that seeped through. You can't help but
where did that come? Where did that come from? Was that from top down, or was that just the culture? Or
do you know? I think a lot of the touch points have been created like early doors by the original sort of founders. So, for instance, every site has like a rowing school somewhere in the roof. Yeah. And that's to symbolise teamwork and everybody pulling in the same direction. And the stripy ceiling, or there'll be some stripes somewhere. Yeah. That's because P.T. Barnum's circus, the greatest show on earth, he had a red and white. So every single one of those kind of came.
Yeah, the story.
But it was embedded, and Cameron Forrester, who was the CEO when I was there, I mean, she lived and breathed that brand. She would go out wearing the uniform, like she would be in the sites, and when she walked into the room, it was like a rock star had just walked in. Everybody would be like, Karen,
it's like founder led. It's like founder led.
She totally behaved like the founder. Yeah. I mean, you cut her in half, she's red and white. Yeah. Like absolutely. And you cannot help but get caught up in it, and the pride, of working in a business that's got so many touch points and so much depth to it, and so much meaning. I mean, genuinely incredible experience.
How long were you at TGI?
Well, I did a maternity cover, so I was there just a year. Yeah. Genuinely incredible experience.
Yeah. And then after TGI's? I'm loving this.
Oh, where does that take? Oh, I remember what happened next. This is where it all gets a bit. This is the lead up to why I founded DataHawks. So I went to Byron next.
Yeah.
And
how many sites does Byron have at that point?
Maybe 80 or something.
Yeah. Wow.
But what had just happened was the infamous Home Office scandal had just happened, where I'm still not sure quite of the detail.
Do me a favour, can you put that microphone just out a little bit? It's sort of hiding away now. Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect. Yeah, you're all good.
That's a more.
Yeah, it's just hiding.
Okay.
Home Office.
So I'm not 100% sure of the detail, and I don't think it would be right for me to quote it unless I did. But basically, some team members had been invited to a training day, and when they got to said training day, the Home Office were waiting with some vans, and there'd been some discrepancies in how people's details had been captured.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. But a lot of people went and it really had kicked off in the press. And people were like releasing cockroaches into the restaurants. There was some terrible things happen because people had felt that Byron had just basically rounded up a load of people and then gone, go off with the Home Office.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not the story that was being told internally. I think Byron were upset about the thing as well. But that had just happened, and it's fair to say things were on a downward trajectory.
Yeah.
And there was a real desire to go, look, we need to think about what the future of Byron is now. It's very obvious that we're not a little indie anymore.
No.
And they'd gone through that exact same thing of going, okay, well, when you're in London and you charge 12 quid for a cheeseburger, no problem, people will pay anything in London. And when you're in, your Manchesters, same, don't worry a little thing about it. Then you try and open in somewhere like Leicester. Yeah. And the point of reference isn't even a Five Guys. The point of reference for a burger is a McDonald's.
Yes.
And suddenly you're like, how much? How can that possibly be £12 better than that?
Yeah, and this is before the Five Guys explosion, right?
Exactly, right? So there was a lot of work to be done on, okay, well, we've got to pull all the stuff out. And we've done all these cost exercises, like how much does it cost to put the pickle on the plate and all of this sort of stuff. But I think that, do you know what? The reason I sort of tell you this is because it really does, all of this sort of stuff started to collide at once. So when I moved from ops into marketing, I was genuinely excited because I thought I'm going to be the closest to the customer you can get now as a marketer. Yeah. You understand the customer.
With that knowledge side on both sides.
Exactly. Yeah. And as an operator, you're close to the customer in terms of the people that you're serving and the tables that you're at. In marketing, you're there seeing your whole customer base. Yeah. And,
every part of the journey, right?
Exactly. And you're seeing how they're behaving and, what interests them and what they respond to and all of that sort of stuff. So I was so excited thinking, I'm going into marketing. Oh my God, this is my chance to really get into the customer now. Yeah. And, was genuinely so disappointed to realise that that's not what happened at all. No. And the decisions that have been made in this business, there was a bit of a kind of cursory, I think this is what the customer would want. Like, what makes us think that? Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know this stuff. Oh, right, okay. And the stuff I would listen to, I remember being at TGI Fridays, and I think I even said to Karen once, I was like, I think I'd just turned 40 or something when I was there. And I was like, we're saying that we're chasing 18, 19-year-olds. She's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm in my 40s. You're older than me. Do you think that we're best placed to be making decisions for said 18-year-olds? And there was no attempt to get to know them or understand them. It was just this is what I know. This is what I do.
Yeah, this has worked before. This is proven.
Exactly. This is proven because I did this in 1987. Oh, good. Okay. And there was a lot of that. And Byron really was the worst example of this because I'd been there sort of a year or something. And it was,
So you're marketing director level or?
Marketing director. Yeah. Just so hard, so relentless. The most toxic of environments you can imagine. A hugely toxic environment. An awful place to be. Awful place to work. I think, their head of people, so not their people director Mike, who's a really great guy, but their head of people ran a WhatsApp group called the Wolf Pack, which was basically grading new employees on their attributes. Just toxic from top to bottom. And these owners were in the building, and we were all sitting around the boardroom table, and we were talking about the brand. And I'd been desperately trying to use the data and sort of say, can we build out some psychographic understanding here? Let's get star count in.
Yeah.
All of this sort of stuff. And they sat around the table. Bearing in mind, these are all multi-millionaire kind of investors.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I mean, beer and burgers. Who even likes beer and burgers? I don't like big. What, do you like beer and burgers? No, I like really nice cocktails, like lounge seating. Let's do it that. Let's make it that. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, you're fucking out of your minds.
Yeah.
And they're like, and also this price point, like £19 average spend or something. I mean, we could get so much more. What if we did like this really nice Wagyu burger, and it would come on a thing, and it'd be like £40. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like,
your mouth is just open, right?
I mean, I just lost the will at that point.
Yeah.
I had no fight left in me.
Yeah.
And I just sat there thinking, you're absolutely insane. Like, you're insane. And the more they were like, Vic, make that happen. I just went, no, I won't.
Yeah.
And I got up from the table and I left, and I didn't go back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was the
the moment.
Yeah.
I just sat like watching. I was very present that day, because I could almost see myself just looking around the table, just going, you are absolutely mental.
But was everyone doing the usual, yes, it's a great idea, love it? Or was there some people that are a bit like...
I don't remember anybody really speaking out against it. Nobody sat there except for me going, are you actually out of your minds?
Yeah.
What on earth makes you think you can take a beer and burger brand and somehow restyle it as a cocktails and high-end?
Yeah.
And like I said that. I don't recall anybody else, but they were totally warm to their theme at that point, you know? And they were imagining whole like lighting schemes and like low seat. And I just thought, you're absolutely insane, a lot of you. You're insane. And that was the real moment of just thinking, nobody is putting the customer first in this.
Yeah.
Nobody is sitting going, let's get to know that customer. Let's find out
Ask them what they want. Yeah.
Not even ask them because they'll lie, but like observe their behaviours, you know, and build something on there. This is all just a bunch of people, you know, just sitting going, this is what I want, you know, this is what I want.
This is a great idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'd lived, I'm vegetarian, have been all my life. Imagine me at Cafe Rouge going, I think we should take all the steaks off. I don't really like meat.
It might work now.
Do you know? It probably would. Might be, maybe that's my angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that was the moment where I just sat and thought, I have no will for this. And I think the realization had sunk in so much of how this sector, because I had so many experiences of it, and I talked to lots of marketing directors as well, and I just thought the universal experience is that people sit and make decisions for them. They're in broadcast mode. They develop a brand that they like. They write copy that they like. They write in a tone that they like. They put stuff on the menu that they like, and they don't give a fuck about anybody else.
Yeah.
And this isn't because, you know, oh, well, we're doing this and I'm using all my, you know, experience to create something that's really works. It just so happens it's what I like. Well, I mean, casual dining in particular at that point was an absolute crisis.
Yeah.
So it wasn't working.
No.
You know, it's just the same people going around making the same mistakes.
Yeah, tunnel vision.
Exactly. In a little echo chamber going, are we all agreed this is great? Yes, it's great. Oh, let's do that. And then the brand implodes for some reason, and then they're given the keys to the next one, and off they go and do it again. And I think I just had got that realisation where after all of these years in hospitality, I just sat and thought, you don't care about the people. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's that light bulb moment.
Yeah, really was so.
And that was, so how long were you off of that and then thinking about the next step?
Well, yeah. So I'd referenced Star Count. I'd met a business called Star Count, who basically had built this incredible database of psychographic data. And Rowena, who is now their CEO, she had, you know, she sort of like shown me what was possible, that we could take the data that we were gathering from our customers, and we could put that through her system, and we could start to match it person by person.
Yeah.
So we can start to understand what the mindsets and the motivations that's driving behaviour, you know? So, and that might be something, you know, we use the burger example all the time, but let's say you and I are the same person in terms of same gender, same age, we live on the same street, same visit frequency, same spend. and we're both buying the vegan burger at Byron,
Yeah.
You know, what the data would tell us is why, and it would tell us that you're buying
I've spoken
health
to you
and
that
fitness.
before. I love this.
Yeah,
Continue. This is just like music to my ears.
But I mean, it's so powerful, right? So then we understand that what you're following on social and where you're spending your money has led us to believe that you're buying that vegan burger out of wellness reasons or health and fitness reasons, okay, or dietary reasons. And maybe I'm spending my money and engaging with the different media that would suggest that I'm buying that same burger out of environmental reasons or animal welfare reasons or sustainability reasons. And they are two very clearly different drivers, you know, and motivations. And so as a marketer, you can use that, and we can talk to you about, you know, using the words light and fitness and fresh. And you talk to me using the words local and recycle. And suddenly we've made the same product massively resonate to each of us.
Yeah.
And that was the power that data had. And I took that into Byron, sort of saying, do you know what we could do with this? Do you know how personalized we could be? Do you know like what we're sitting on here?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was buzzing with it. So just assumed everybody else would be, and took it into the board meeting, and immediately everybody just went, why would we want that? We know what people want. They want burgers. Yeah, but what I'm saying is like why they want a burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Anyway, next. And it was so easily dismissed, but I kept that idea in my head. And it just played like, why wouldn't you want to get to know somebody? This is...
And it's so easy.
Exactly. It's so easy. Why wouldn't you want to get to know somebody and then act on that information? We're supposed to be people.
Yeah.
So that stayed. And then I'd kind of been trying to work out what to do. And I knew it involved this data set.
Yeah.
And I was like, personalization, couldn't quite get it. And then I started to realize that there were a lot of businesses that had a lot of tech, and the tech was capturing and generating a ton of customer data in terms of like email addresses and exactly. And it's sitting there because
lovely
tech
pool of
platforms.
data. Yeah.
Because actually most tech platforms weren't focused on, you know, they were focused on the service. You know, you're very unique in that you see the application of it.
Yeah.
But most people didn't at that point. They saw it as this is a service, you know. So we're sitting there with all that data, and then you've got the operators and the marketers going, if only there was a way to increase frequency, if only there was a way
How do I get more bums on seats?
Yeah, God, if only there was a way. And I was like, there is. And that's when I thought, I've got it. It's got to be. I've got to show people the opportunity that sits in their data.
So then, when did the name?
DataHawks.
Yeah.
Oh God. I'm almost a bit embarrassed about the name DataHawks. I don't know why.
That's an awesome name.
Well, I knew it had to have data in it.
Yeah.
Because it was a data thing. And I really just always remember my mum saying things like, just remember I've got eyes like a hawk.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm watching you like a hawk.
Exactly, because I'd be just like, how did you even know I did that? And she'd be like, because I've got eyes like a hawk. And I thought, well, if I'm all about spotting the opportunity in the data, like eyes like a hawk, DataHawks.
Great name.
But I think I don't know now. I think it's that classic thing of I've heard it so often now. It makes me go, oh, God.
I feel like you need to add that to the. Is that on the site? Is the history of the name of where? I mean, that's just a beautiful origin story.
I should.
I should. 100%.
It'd be a nice sort of tribute to my mum as well, who's not with us anymore. But a little hawk.
Yeah.
That'd be because she did have eyes like a hawk. She caught me doing everything. But yeah, so I guess.
What? How long ago? What time was that? What year was that?
It was like 2018, 19.
Yeah.
It was kind of percolating, and I was a bit like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? And I didn't quite know. And we started originally as a pure insights business. So what staggered me was every time, I've spoken to one of my bosses and said, what's our frequency? They've gone 4 times a year. Oh, cool. How do we know that? We just do. Oh, okay, good. Is that we just know that it's 4 times a year?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
But is there any? We just know it. Vic. Oh, got it. I'll shut up, shall I? And I thought nobody knows what their frequency is. How can they know what? Because the only way to know your frequency is either to do some mass survey where literally everybody that walks in and like, have you been here before, and tick a box. or do surveys. But people lie on surveys
All the time.
and research. You know, if you say to me, what's my favourite supermarket? It's Waitrose.
Yeah.
All day long. Ask me where I spend my money. It's actually Sainsbury's because I haven't got Waitrose near me, you know? So, but people lie, and they don't mean to.
No.
People have a funny memory of how many times they go to.
Yeah, I go
all
loads.
the time.
I've been there.
Exactly.
Like when's the last time you went there 6 months ago?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the data is the answer. And I thought, if I could produce a set of insights that basically said, look, this is how your database is broken down. These are the people, the tiny percentage of your database that are driving all of your revenue. These are the people that you're sitting there delighted with yourself because you've got 500,000 people on your database, but 98% of them haven't been in a year. Then that would give you real clarity, because as a marketer, you would know what to do with that. You would know who you have to talk to, who you need to get one more visit from.
Yes.
And you could put a pound value next to that activity. And we were doing that. We'd done that for like 40 brands or something. Like people like loved the insights. But then I started to realise that people weren't doing anything with the insights.
Yeah, it's lovely to see.
Yeah, exactly. And there was this one particular day, and I won't tell you the brands, but we'd found them nearly £10 million of opportunity.
Yeah.
And we'd said, you've got this group of people who are so, so valuable to you. They are driving literally 80% of your revenue, this tiny like 5%. And if we could get 10% of this group to behave like that, that's worth nearly £10 million to this casual brand, right?
Yeah.
And during the call, during the Zoom debrief, people were like delighted. It was like high fives and stuff. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And then I realised that they never even downloaded the deck that I sent to them. And I just thought, why?
Yeah.
Why would you turn down that opportunity?
Yeah.
And then I remembered what it was like to be a marketing director, and you're pulled in 92 different directions, and
then resource and
resource, you know, and you've got the CEO on one shoulder going, my wife had a great idea, and good, and you've got ops on the other shoulder going, we need table talkers, we need table talkers, because they don't believe your marketing unless they can see it printed on paper.
Yes.
And you've got no time to do that segmentation. And from there, I launched an activation service. So we give you the insights. We say, this is how your customers are genuinely behaving.
So phase one is insights.
It's always the insights. Yeah. This is the opportunity. This is who we can get to make one more visit. This is what that's worth to you.
Yeah.
You know, these are the drivers or triggers that might get them to do that extra thing. There's the insights. But also, if you haven't got the the resource in-house, we've got an inbuilt agency that will literally take it off your hands.
And that's the next level, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly. And what we were doing as well is we were quantifying the incremental revenue, the incremental impact. Because right from the start, I said to our then head of insights, we need to be able to sit with a finance director, and a finance director.
This has been sent. This is how much money you've made. Yeah, otherwise you're lost.
You can't, because they will always say something like, but it was sunny.
Yeah.
No, it was the email. So we started running control groups. You know, it was like the simplest way of just going. If the answer to if the question is, did this communication change behaviour? We know it did, because the people that didn't receive the email didn't behave in the way that the people who did.
That's so interesting.
So we were able to just prove that incremental.
A/B test and everything.
Exactly. So DataHawks was kind of up and running and going crazy, frankly. It really took off, like, in a bit of an insane way.
And then COVID.
COVID was great for us, actually.
Yeah. I think it was an interesting point. Everyone said that. I had someone on the other day that was like, not about the viruses, not about the death, not about the bad stuff, but I wish we could just bring it back, because everyone just went up. Everyone reiterated and changed and rebuilt and realised that there was a need to do stuff.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, because the whole point of we've got this, do you want to do it? Yes, now, out and done. It accelerated crazy amounts. Like, look at Toggle and even Gift Pro and all of that sort of gifting platform went mental.
Well, people got very entrepreneurial very quickly, didn't they? Which was, incredible to see. It almost felt like the golden age of hospo again. But I mean, I'm quite an introvert, so I couldn't have enjoyed lockdown more if I tried.
Yeah.
Even when it was lifted and my friends were going, no, we can go out now, everything's open. I was like, it's too soon. Think of the virus. I can't. I took to lockdown like a duck to water. But I think I'd had this really strong sense of first of all, I'm not going to let my business die in this. So I just became very, very vocal on LinkedIn. And I'm not known for being shy about my opinions on stuff. So I just used LinkedIn as just you can help yourself out this, gather data. You can gather data now. Like the future is this. So just, you can.
There's possibilities out there.
Exactly. This is the golden time to be able to set yourself up for the way that the market's going to, go. And it really benefited us because so many people then were like, oh my God, you've been around for like years. And I was like, no, I've been around for about 6 months. But there was so much like recognition.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, your history is pretty, it's a good pedigree.
But I didn't know anybody before that. And it's so funny that I think so many people know me now because of team marketing.
Yeah.
And so they know, like, they've had to send me a message to say, can I join team marketing? Yeah. So they're like, oh, I know Vic through that.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to events.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I didn't go to events.
Yeah.
I kind of kept my head down. I did my job and I kind of went home. Like, I wasn't part of like a big circle. I didn't know anybody, So all of these people that I basically met as I was starting the business and through lockdown, whether it's your Dan Brookmans, whether it was your Julian from Wallet Social, all of those people I met at that time.
Yeah.
But everybody seemed to assume that I'd just been around forever because I'd just been so absolutely vocal during lockdown.
Yeah.
And then I go, no, my business is like now 18 months old. And they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
And it really helped because we took on some incredible clients like very, very quickly.
So I'm going to go back to the team marketing and because the origins of it, because it's a really nice community. I mean, it's very different to pre-group where people would you'd never have anyone asking, I was quiet today. Was anyone else quiet today? Or what are you doing for loyalty? Or what's this? I've never seen before this community was built. Never have I ever seen someone give advice, help, anything, and it's really changed. So, where did that originally? Was it you going? Oh, actually, I know some people that are interested, or putting people together, or how did it start?
No, it started because I'd had an incredible morning planning for my business and going, oh my God, this is so exciting. And then I'd spent the whole afternoon sobbing, going, oh my God, what have I done? I could be getting furloughed now,
Yeah.
And I was so emotionally like up and down. I mean, I ate an unbelievable amount of Easter eggs in that first lockdown. I was so like this, as founders are all the time with businesses, but I was so like this. And I think I put something on LinkedIn and said something along the lines of, spent the afternoon crying. It's hard, right? And I had a couple of DMs of people going, oh my God, thank you. Yes, me too.
Yeah.
But I'm never shy to say something. I'll always be the first person to admit to feeling anxious or worried or whatever. And I'd had a couple of messages. And one of them was a wonderful woman called Frances Dorr, who had messaged and said, oh, that was a really great post, thank you. And I said, I'll add you on WhatsApp. And, it kind of went for that. And then I started to get messages going, can I be in the crying group? And I was like, yeah. And then I'd gone to a couple of people and gone, do you want to be in this group? And I think there was like 10 people or something that I just said I'd gone out to. And they'd just gone, oh, yeah, straight away. And then it was a combination of me then going to people and going, I don't know if you want to be in this group that I've joined, but it's just for lockdown.
Yeah.
And then it really took off and people were, it was almost a full-time job at one point where, letting people in. And then when lockdown kind of came to an end, maybe there was about 250 people in it at that point. And when lockdown came to an end, I thought, oh, this will be over then. And I was about to disband the group and go, right, I'm shutting the group down now. But then I started to think, you're right, everything had become really collaborative.
Yeah.
People were literally posting sales figures in there and going,
that's crazy.
Do you know how many, we've only had X amount of bookings for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Like, is anybody else struggling like me? And I couldn't believe how collaborative everything had got and so open. And I thought, God, that's a real shame, but nobody's going to want this after lockdown.
Yeah.
And then it went crazy after lockdown. It was almost like everybody that was going back to work and coming off furlough suddenly went, I need a place to go, and I've heard about this.
Yeah, it's like a safe space, right?
Yeah, and it really was.
Yeah.
Because we went from like 250 to like 750 like that.
Yeah.
It just went crazy, like crazy.
Yeah, I remember speaking to you when the limits were happening. When
Yeah.
and we were like, you were like, oh,
We had a waiting list,
yeah.
Because at first there was like a 256 limit.
Yes.
And then there was like the 560 limit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when they said, we're going to remove, I was like, oh, because it had a waiting list at this point. But then it just became, I mean, it was clear it was not going anywhere because people were just really joining at pace and referencing it. And the amount of messages I would get or shout outs in a podcast where somebody would be like, just to team, just want to mention team marketing. And I was like, wow, this has really done something for people.
Massive.
But it had done something huge for me as well because, to be part of that, I wasn't a marketer in a brand, but I was a founder who was feeling extremely lonely during lockdown and thinking, Jesus Christ, what have I done? And it was just lovely to be...
I love the crying group. I love the name of the crying group. I love that. But yeah, you're right.
Glenda should change the name to the crying group. Really
now she's managing it,
And it, like the in real life thing would be just loads of people crying in a room together
you need
and hugging each other.
You need the crying corner. No, but I think it's been unbelievable the growth of it. And I remember speaking to you about like community, like and so on. You're like, I mean, you're busy as it is enough. So I have to say the build of the community and you managing it with everything else you do, it must have been pretty difficult because the consistent asking, right? There's no automation to it.
And people are people are sending messages going, who's that person that's just come in, So there was like quite a lot of that. And you said a lot, we could do this, we could split into communities. And
I saw your eyes going like back of your head, and as I was saying.
Well, do you know what I think I felt, and I do this with the other groups that I've got as well. That I think I just wanted to just watch it unfold.
Yes.
And I didn't have I'm very conscious that I've got quite a strong personality, and I'm all of that. I didn't want it to become the Victoria Searl group.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is how I'm going to decide it's been set up, and therefore you must use it in this way.
No, you've been really nice to leave it open.
I was just, I've rarely talked.
You were watching. Yeah, you were just watching.
Exactly. I read every single message. I rarely commented on anything.
Yeah.
The only time I commented was after I came back after my mum and I'd said something about, thanking everybody, because the messages I'd had were incredible. And that was a real, that was a really lovely moment. How utterly supportive. A bunch of people who'd never met me other than this group were.
Never.
It was incredible. But I just wanted it to unfold. And then in April this year, I wanted to make space for something that I'm now doing and now about to do. And I just thought, I cannot have all of these because I've got well-behaved women for women who have frankly had enough of this shit.
Yes.
That goes as well. I've got Customer First, which I've just started, which has already got 110 people in it. Amazing. I've only just started it. But I knew I didn't have the brain capacity for all of it.
Yeah.
And I just thought team marketing is the one that has to go. And if I'm holding on to this out of just a real affection and love for it, but it is also an absolute monster.
It is.
And it would be better in somebody else's hands. And I immediately thought, I'm going to speak to Glenda because I know Glenda, and I just thought she shares my values. I believe that she will take that group and she will be, it will retain the spirit it was started.
Yeah, which it has.
It
absolutely has.
And she sort of said, I'm going to do this. And she kept asking me questions going, do you mind if I do this? I was like, it's your group.
Yeah.
And in fact, I left the group because I didn't want her to be like, it's like looking after someone's baby or something and they're watching you. I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So I said, you're going to have to get me out of the group. She went, I can't make you. And I said, like, stop being a chicken and just delete me. And she was like, I'm never going to delete you. So I left.
Yeah.
And I know it's going from strength to strength.
It's awesome.
I know it is. Yeah. And I'm incredibly proud of her and what she's done.
She's done an amazing job.
And
amazing.
Every so often I'm like, oh, God. Like,
it's your baby. You should be proud.
Yeah, I'm incredibly proud of it.
I spoke to Glenda about as soon as she had it, I was like, when's it live? Which is now sold out, which is amazing. And it's just going to be unbelievable, which is going to be really, really nice. And also, it's not a like supplier in your face thing, which I love. That's the challenge. Go to lots of events and it's all some events are just operator led.
Yeah.
Supplier led, not operator led. Like that partner does X, Y, and Z. This is all lots of different people. I just think it's a really nice community to bring together.
Yeah.
I spoke to her about the community thing, which is now done, which is awesome. So that separating thing. So that's it's just she's done a great job. So
she has, and I mean she's a busy woman.
She is.
She's a busy woman,
Very
Glenda.
busy.
But yeah, I'm incredibly proud of starting the group, and it's wonderful to see it in, very, very safe hands now, and I can really enjoy it with real affection now, because I know that spirit that it was created within will go on and on and on. And
I just love that people can ask questions and people will come back with honest answers, which has just never happened before. I mean, mental. I on the IT side of what we do, it's called the Tech Tribe,
right.
And this guy in Australia set this up for like IT companies. And there's I think it's got like 200,000, and they've got the forum and the community, and it's the same sort of thing. But he's built it out to be this beast of a thing. Where there's a website and there's a community, and they do each little town, like London does a meetup, and Leeds and Birmingham, everywhere, all over the world. You can go to it and have a look at who's there and meet up with other people and have a chat. Not as fun as marketing, because the IT people are a little bit boring, as you can imagine. This happened again with this customer. So I don't often go to the events that often, but the community's there. Like if you've got, I got a client in Dubai that needs X, I'll just put a message in the community and someone come back. So sorry. So, but this thing is awesome. The database of like supplier information, like people who are like, oh, anyone got a photographer, boom, anyone got this, boom, anyone got this. It's just
but
nice.
Restaurants, do you know what it was the maddest thing that came out of that group is how it must rival Google in terms of like, can anybody recommend a restaurant on this street? Like, yes, I can. And you'll get like 30 people go.
Yeah, but that's what you want. Like, so you go on Google, great, fine. Also, I had a guy called Aaron from Incentivio. It's a US loyalty company, and he was like, it's all. If I ever go anywhere, I never go on Google. I always will ask someone who knows someone to find me someone to go. And that's basically what this is, which I love. Because, even abroad as well, it's like, I'm going here. And like, oh, this place is amazing. But you never even...
You can just pick the most random...
known about it.
Well, I was going to... so I love going to southern Spain, and I was going to this particular place in southern Spain. I said, if anybody's got any recommendations.
Yeah.
And people were like messaging me like spreadsheets of like,
I love that.
These are all the 30 places I went to. And I was like, I mean, God, it's incredible.
I love that.
God, what an amazing bunch of people. And I feel very. You should. I feel very fond of it.
Yeah, you should be really proud.
Very fond of it.
I think it's helped so many businesses get through difficult times as well. Like when someone, obviously during when it was started, but even afterwards, when someone's got that challenge and they're not sure or they need advice, everyone's happy just to throw it in there. And that's an independent advice. That's not really someone who's like even consultant just going in and saying, "This is what we did. If you want to have a chat, let me know." And I've done that to so many people as well on our side. Like, I know we work with X. I know what they've done. Let me know. Have a chat. Yeah. So, and it's just so nice. Like, you're just giving your time, which is nice. Rather than getting that direct LinkedIn message from someone you don't know.
Yeah.
You know that there's someone who knows someone in there, which is nice. Okay. What's next?
What now?
So
we're going to crack open that Nutella.
we might have to. So, I mean, it's awesome. And we've touched on... I mean, the journey it's an awesome journey. I love the bit that I didn't know. I knew some of the history, not all of it. Obviously, the deep dive gave me more information.
That was quite weird reading that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I do that for everyone. It's so interesting.
It's quite freaky.
Yeah, so we did that for Travis Fish.
Right.
And it came up with like a line, I think, a quote. And I don't think he said the quote because AI just found it. And he was like, I'm going to use that. That's really great. It's like his beliefs are.
Yeah.
And it wrote, he's like, that's amazing. So, but yeah. Okay, so we're up to practically up to date, to be fair.
Yeah, so very recent times. So in the last few months, I've gone through a bit of an evolution, and I think it's occurred to me that we'd started as a consultancy. We'd very quickly become this agency. I literally woke up one morning and went, "Fucking hell, I've got an agency!" Like, I didn't ask for an agency, but an agency we had. But the limitations of an agency for us are that people tend to see you as an extra pair of hands. And it means that while there's all this incredible work that can be done in how you engage with your customers and you deliver sort of personalized comms and how you take the insights and you leverage the insights, what ends up happening is that all kind of gets slid over there in favor of, could you send Kids Eat Free to the whole database, please? Yes. And I personally was getting frustrated with that. The team were getting, really frustrated with that. And I just thought, this is not, this is not helping anybody.
No.
Right? This is an industry in crisis. And I'm going to be really honest. Yes, this industry face incredible headwinds. Like, nobody can deny an unbelievable set of headwinds, but we also do absolutely fucking nothing to help ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. And we really have forgotten the customer, and I truly believe that in that thirst for instant sales gratification that's driven by private equity, in that thirst for vanity metrics, like how many likes did we get and all of that sort of stuff, we've nailed the reach part, but the relevance part has completely disappeared.
Yeah.
And I think people have been, the poor recipients of that. The customers have been the poor recipients. And I was thinking about this a lot. What we do with our databases, it's like we're the worst friend ever. Imagine me, right? I don't speak to you all year.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't ask you any questions. I don't, I have no real interest. When you tell me something, I go, oh, yeah, whatever. And then what I do is I phone you and go, you couldn't lend me 10 grand, could you? You'd be like,
yeah. What?
No, I can't lend you 10 grand. And that's what we're doing with our databases all year.
Yeah.
We're sending stuff out that suits us. Look at me, look at my
it's your birthday. There you
Exactly. It's lazy. It's just lazy stuff. We're not getting to know anybody. We're not sending anything out that resonates. We're not meeting people where they are in their life cycle. We're not doing any of that. But what we are doing is going, why aren't you coming in? Where are you? And I think that the industry is at absolute crisis point. And for me, the future of communication, it is about connection, and it's about really emotionally intelligent connection. And data helps us do that.
Yeah.
So I've spent 6 months doing probably, I say this and I'm laughing, but I think it's partly fear I'm laughing out of, which is I've probably done the complete opposite to every other CEO for the last 6 months, which is I've actively turned work down.
Yeah.
Because I have such a clear idea of who I want to work with, of the impact that we can make, that we're aligned on what it is we're trying to achieve. We're trying to get closer to customers. We're trying to use data to do that. We're going to forget, well, what do I want to say? I'm in broadcast mode. What do I want to say? And we're going to start building a digital dialogue based on, well, what have you just told me? And how am I going to respond to that? Etc. And so I've spent 6 months almost going backwards in terms of the kind of clients that we're signing, and everything is completely pointed in the direction of a thing I'm calling customer first for the moment.
I love that.
And our positioning, it's customer first marketing. The content that you're going to start seeing come out. I mean, I've started doing these videos because I was terrified of videos before. As you know, I'm very shy about stuff like that. And I've been practicing.
I love it because you're just literally be in front of like a shopping centre.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a Marks and Spencer, whatever, and literally train station, and just camera comes out, and what you say is.
When I'm like, let me get this over and done with. I have a small burst of confidence.
It doesn't feel like that.
Well, that's very kind of me, but it really is when I'm like, I think I've got the confidence to do it now and not throw up. So I've been doing that in practice because there's going to be a lot more content, and everything from our ideal customer profile to our positioning to the content will all be pointing towards that customer first thing. And you're going to see that manifest in two different ways. So the first thing is the community. So start building a community on LinkedIn. It's already got like 110 people in. And it's for people who believe put your customers first and everything else will fall into place. Meet your customer where they're at. Talk to have that digital dialogue. And I want to build a movement because I genuinely believe the future is connection and it is emotional intelligence. So that's the movement.
Yeah.
And then the thing that kind of comes from that is, well, the natural question will be, that sounds great, Vic, but how do we do that?
Yeah.
Because that's not what we've got the resource and the structure for. But that's where DataHawks comes in. And DataHawks, we've built out a ton of really incredible IP actually over the last 6 months. So the first thing is our insights suite. So it's this customer intelligence report.
Yeah.
It's there to surface the value in your database, the risk in your database, the opportunity in your database. And we've got machine learning models that we've built in partnership with a business called Data Cove. And so we can now drop your data in and it will tell us how people are going to behave.
Nice.
So that's the first thing. The extension of that is, well, if customer lifetime value is based on transactional stuff, how much have you spent over what period?
Yeah.
That's never going to get us to a place of being truly emotionally intelligent. But what will is if we start folding in other metrics as well. So we're also in the middle of building a model at the moment, which takes the spend and the frequency and how long you've been live on the database it also pulls in NPS scores, and
Yeah.
it also pulls in engagement from emails.
Yeah.
And that gives us a dynamic score that we're calling LQ, loyalty quotient. And that will be a dynamic score that will tell you how loyal the people on your database are likely to be and how much growth potential they have.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, you can go, well, how are we going to activate that? We've got a customer framework that we've developed. So, and this has taken sort of 5 years and millions of data points to get to this point. But the framework basically, it replicates a real human relationship. Okay. So if I meet you for the first time in the street, I don't go up to you and go, hey mate, how are you? Why don't we go like swimming later? Like, you'd be like, are you mental? But that's what we do all the time in hospitality and retail. We basically go, okay, I've sent you an email with £10 off now. Should we get married?
Yeah.
What? But what this does is it takes all of these different touch points from even before you're on that database.
Yeah.
So we can then link how you've behaved anonymously with your data record.
Yeah.
And it takes all of that and then it accelerates that relationship through, I really now like you a lot. I'm really getting to know you. My God, you really see me and you really understand me too. God, I think we might be in love a bit now.
Yeah.
And we've got genuine long-term loyalty, because you can't buy loyalty. You've got to do that hard yards.
Yeah.
But we can take that and accelerate that relationship down. So either you get that 15 months of somebody being on your database and you get the most possible value out for 15 months, or because you're at a point where that person genuinely loves what you're doing now, you can extend it to 17, to 20, to 25. And
build
beyond.
that relationship.
Exactly.
Community.
Exactly. But you're going to get the most value out of it. So we've got all this IP and we're testing it, and it's just really.
So the question
really
I have for you is this for everyone, or is this for 20 venues, 50, 100 locations? Where is that barrier to entry?
I think it's more about how much data you've got.
Okay.
And also how serious you are. Like I use this quote all the time, but that bit in Succession when Logan Roy says to his kids, I love you, but you're not serious fucking people, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about hospitality.
Yes.
We're not serious fucking people.
No.
We're not. And we've got to stop patting ourselves on the back for doing really very basic stuff and do more. You referenced Tesco earlier on. If they are the benchmark of a business that is serious about using data and seeing the commercial impact of that, we're 30 years behind that. 30 years behind it. That's whole
crazy.
Lifetime behind that. So I think it's less about how big your business is, and it's more about what's your ambition.
Yeah.
Because we are not going to be the cheapest people to work with. We're not going to come to you and go, we're going to do this a couple of grand a month.
Yeah.
We're not. We've got all this incredible IP, and the results that we deliver are incredible. I mean, we delivered last financial year an average 32 times ROI for our clients.
Yeah.
So the results.
But there's
are
also
there.
you've got actionable ROI rather than
Yeah.
the generic marketing external person that says this is what. Because we had a client a year ago. A CEO calls me, just spent 30K on Meta, something called Meta. I don't know what Meta is. I just spent all this money in the last 3 months, and he's telling me that the report says that I've got more diners, and I've looked at the last year and this year, and I looked at and nothing's different, and I was like, just stop.
Yeah.
Just
stop doing
don't do that. Just I'll find you someone, but just don't spend that money. He's like, okay, I get it, because he got completely bamboozled by pretty numbers.
But Meta and Google's whole business model is based on getting you to spend more and more and more and more. That's literally their business model.
Yeah.
Okay, it's how it works. That's why what we do is with your data, and we can enhance it. Absolutely, with Star Count and Bomb and various other platforms that we can license, but we activate it through your channels. So CRM being your main one, WhatsApp. So Wingstop are doing an incredible case study with us at the moment. We're really excited about that with the guys at Merck's.
Yeah.
But your own channels, because then you keep it within your, and it takes away the risk.
It's not going out to the ether.
Exactly, it takes away the risk, because the second you engage with, Meta or Google, and you know that their business model is to get you to spend more money. Now you could say, well, we're all benefiting. If I'm spending more money, I'm getting more back.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to pick that part. And attribution is something we talk about, all day long. But for me, it comes down to, did this communication change behaviour? And I can 100% say it did, because those people did not behave in the same way as those people.
Yeah.
So it just feels like it's taking out the risk. But also it helps all the other agencies do better, because if we've isolated this 4% of people in your database that are super valuable to you, use that to build your lookalike audiences. So it makes the whole system
Oh, yes, you're right. Absolutely.
work better.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Yeah, if you've got that 4% who are die-hard fans, find the other ones using that lookalike. That's very interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, so is that here, or is that nearly there, or where is that?
So it's here. So the insights package is absolutely here. So the customer intelligence report, we're getting a lot of requests for that at the moment, because I think what people want to know is they want some clarity. Yeah. And they want to know.
The data doesn't mean anything right now.
Right. Exactly. You know, and we're labouring under this myth all the time of, oh, my frequency is 5 times a year. It's not. You're wrong. Probably 6% of your database are visiting like you think they are. The rest of them they're gone. Yeah. Like they are already gone to you, And acquisition is so expensive. So why wouldn't we just try and get more value out of that? So the insights piece, we're getting a lot of inquiries about that, because people just want that clarity of, tell me how much opportunity is in the database. Tell me how much I'm leaving on the table by not doing this stuff. Yeah. The other stuff, we're in a great position now. We're already doing the CLV, the customer lifetime modelling. The other model, we're just in the final stages of testing, so we can start, onboarding on that really quickly. Yeah. And LQ as a metric is something that we'll start to roll out over the next year or so, because I'm going to be really frank, we've got a job to do to get hospitality in particular to understand lifetime value before we take them several steps further to go, we're now going to start bringing this in. But ultimately, this is all about delivering emotionally intelligent marketing. Yeah. That has massive commercial impact. You know?
Yeah, huge. And I would love to get an email from someone who understood, like, who knew what I was interested in. Yeah. And have that customized broadcast or message. And it reminds me back in the day of lastminute.com when they send their emails. Yeah. Because back in the day, they would send their emails and I would smile because they would be jam-packed with everything. Obviously, they'd be everything. It would be customized to me. But I would just smile because it looked awesome, and there was probably 10 things on there that I loved. Yeah. And I wish that would be nice if a hospitality brand knew that I liked X, or my wife has crazy allergies, whatever, and then she had that email. Yeah. Or even direct comms for it. But
do you know what really baffles me, and it actually angers me, is that you think of hospitality in particular and retail being a close second. These are the most customer-facing. Well, I mean, yeah, but when you compare it to something like gaming, right? Yeah. Gaming, speak to Stephen Powell at Actio. Yeah. He will tell you all day long about where gaming is. Like, gaming is next level. Like, they know what you're going to do in 5 years' time. Yeah. Betting, any of those kind of sectors, they have got such a handle on who you are, your mindset, your drivers, your triggers, like what you're going to do, predicting your behavior like years in advance, and making sure that if we know you're going to do that, let's just give you the right nudge to get you to do that thing a bit faster. Yeah. And then you compare that with hospitality, where it's literally going, we've got a welcome journey, we're really chuffed with it. Like, I mean, James Mobb said to me once, not having a birthday journey, right? One of the most basic journeys ever. James Mobb said this thing that really stuck in my head. He said, this is like the equivalent of somebody going into your restaurant going, it's my birthday today, and you going, yeah, good for
walking
you. Off. Yeah. What? Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah. What? Yeah. Or a welcome journey. I mean, so many brands don't even have a welcome journey. This is the equivalent of you going up to the restaurant door and the host just going,
what can I do for you?
You'd be like,
Yeah.
Are you going to welcome me?
Yeah. It kills me. Yeah. But not only that, like, I think James was also talking about the other day, before he did his talk at RMI, I was like, I want the data. Because, he did the whole sign up thing. Yeah.
He loves his data,
and he signed up like 20 brands. Like, brands that have, he said to me as well, and this is one of the comments I love, if someone has to scroll down to the bottom of your website to sign up to the newsletter, you have to be lucky to someone to get there. Yeah. And I reiterate and that and your out of order sign comment for the toilet out of order sign is the two comments I use all the time. Yeah. I was like, no pop-ups, like, come on, you have signed up to your website. Where's that email? Yeah. Where's that? I'm interested in something. If you go to a brand with Shopify and you look at Shopify and Klaviyo and that whole suite, hey, you've just missed this, or that retail piece is just not here.
It isn't, but even if you take away the technicalities of it, it means that the digital experience is so far away from the experience you would hope somebody's going to get in the restaurant that they're going to walk in.
Yeah.
And if you really take it back to basics, you go, does any of this suggest that we give a fuck about these customers?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Yeah. I think the thing for me as well is that I'd love for your there'll be your little intelligence device to be there when someone books a table, and it marries up to the res, so you know everything about that group. And that's just one thing that you go to a hotel, VIP hotel, done research on you, know who you are. Even if you've gone to a hotel that maybe you've been there once before, the data points they have on you is crazy.
Yeah.
But you go into a restaurant that you have been to before, and they don't recognise you.
No.
They won't. The res system might, depending on what it is or who's at the front. They might have a chip printer. Great, it shows you allergens. Might show you the tags, but is there more information in there? No. The server that comes to you hasn't been given that. It's just, unless you go high end, where you have that experience and they understand it. It's just not there, and it's so there. It's like in your hands, but it's just not.
I guess it comes back to that thing we said at the start. There's service and there's hospitality, And listen, if service was working, we wouldn't be an industry in crisis.
Yeah.
We would not be an industry in crisis. And yes, headwinds and all of that sort of stuff, but people are still eating. There are people still going out. I can't cook to save my life. I go out about 19 times a week because I can't cook. But it really does come down to that thing of, if you approached all of your digital in terms of your tech stack, to your marketing, to your data capture, to your communications, if you approach that through the lens of hospitality, now I'm going to keep saying customer first, but if you approach it through the lens of pure hospitality, you would be looking at what we do now and going, that is really quite embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
And I believe the future is hospitality, and I believe the future is connection. I think the more we rely on tech, the more connection will matter, the more being seen, being understood will matter, the more emotional intelligence will matter, and I'm absolutely, I've literally swung my business and just gone, that's the future and that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
We're going. And anybody who doesn't agree with that, they don't have to work with us.
No, true.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I'm not going to go on because we could go on forever, but I'm going to give you a round of applause. And I think we've officially hit the longest because Mark McCulloch was just before you, so we've done pretty well.
Have you got his leaderboard?
I think I should actually display the leaderboard. I think Mark McCulloch was probably his story was awesome.
He's an amazing guy.
He is, yeah. He's amazing. I can listen to him all day, like you. I can listen to you all day.
And we've got the same trainers, I think. We're
oh yes, yeah.
He'd love a pair of these Air Maxes, leopard skin Air Maxes.
He's colour scheme. Okay, final questions. Best restaurant?
Hawksmoor.
Yeah.
And you know why it's the best restaurant? I'm vegetarian, and still that's my favourite restaurant because I love how I feel when I'm there. And the one in Seven Dials.
Yeah.
I take people all the time. I go. I love it. I take people to impress them. I take people for them to feel at ease. And the fact that I don't even eat meat and that's still my favourite restaurant must mean that it's an incredible
That's
place.
super impressive.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even thought about taking a friend of mine who's veggie there. I'd be steering away from it.
I mean, I literally have the same thing every time because they're not exactly catering for me, but nor should they. But that's amazing, incredible.
Okay, amazing. Best burger?
Well, I'm the wrong person to ask this because I've literally eaten about 5 veggie burgers in my life.
Really?
I don't like burgers. They're sloppy and they get stuff falls out, and you have to keep doing that with your hands. It's not. I'm not sure I'm the best person to ask, but I can't even think of a burger I've ever had. What's your favourite burger?
It's difficult. I think probably Bleecker is going to be my favourite out of them all.
Okay, we'll go with that then.
There we go. I'll put Bleecker, by Adam.
Yeah.
By Adam. Yeah. Best hotel?
Well, do you know, I stay in hotels all the time and I never remember them. Yeah. And I was thinking on my way in, I was like, what constitutes a really good hotel for me? And there are hotels that I go to a lot, but I think the thing that they all have in common is if they do good room service, because what I like to do is go and lock myself in a hotel room, work for a couple of days and just get a load of stuff down. So if they've got really good room service where I don't have to go anywhere, that's great. If they've got a spa, I'm there. So if they've got a good combination of room service and spa and a rooftop bar or pool,
Okay.
then brilliant.
What's the most recent one you've been to that has all three?
Two actually. So one, I can't remember the name of it. It was in Dubai, and I went in May, and it had an incredible rooftop bar,
Yeah.
overlooking the Burj Khalifa. Well, not overlooking it because
Yeah.
Burj Khalifa is that tall, but just in front, and an incredible time. We went with the team. We were all just sat there, just gazing at it, going, "My God!" Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my idea of an amazing city, but I love the ambition and
Yeah.
just the scale of it.
The drive.
But Hotel Obal in Marbella, actually,
Okay.
I've been there quite a few times, and it's got a really nice roof terrace. It's got a pool on the roof. It's got really good room service. It's about 5 minutes to the beach. It's about 30 seconds into the old town.
Yeah.
And when I take myself off and have a few days of just
Not working.
focus, unfortunately, I go to work. That's my point. I literally go by myself
Yeah.
to just go work.
Yeah.
I will always choose there. It's probably the hotel I've stayed in most, actually.
Okay, perfect. 2 questions for the next guest.
Yeah, well, so the first one I think is going to be a little bit loaded, which is, so I'm sorry for who's going to get this, but given that we are an industry that has no problem talking about ourselves and our brands and showing the world what we do and why we do it and how we do it, why are we so reluctant to put people first?
Yeah.
Why are we so reluctant to put customers first?
Yeah.
So I'd love to know somebody's take on that. And then the second one, I was thinking about a book I read the other night and how I've read it about 5 times. And I'd love to know if that person had a book that they'd read more than 3 times.
Okay.
And what the book was and why they read it. Because if anybody's read a book 3 times, it's had an impact.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless they're just really bad at concentrating.
Never finished it. Amazing. All right, so thank you. I'm going to give you another round of applause. I'll give you everyone a little wave goodbye. Officially the longest podcast, but we had to get through it.
You're
Thank
saying
you
I
so
talk
much.
a lot. Thanks.
I talk more than you.